No fix, yelled Dell, Sam and Swami's 3-year-old daughter, standing with her hands on her hips at the open side door of the camper. Dell had her mother's dusty blonde hair. Darren had his father's red. The new baby had a tuft of strawberry-colored fuzz. Darren strode toward the door, shaking his head at his little sister and nodding his pants back up. "No, Dell, ticks with a T," he said. T, ticks. "No ticks," shouted Dell, and then made T sounds, t, as Darren corralled her back up into the camper. Swami peered out the window again, irritation on her face. Her arms looped around the baby, pulling the child in close to nurse. "We need to get there, Sam. The kids are going to need supper and bed." Sam nodded, took another deep breath, and trudged up the ditch. It smelled good. Sam hoped someday soon Swami might like to stand out in one of these fields with him and smell the sweet grass and pine and agree how wonderful it was. They could be in love again, the way they were in the summer of '79, when they both had summer jobs as raft guides down in West Virginia. This journey north was a bit of a last chance for them, and more than Swami even knew. The thought of what was at stake made Sam feel like holding his breath, like he had swum out to water too deep, and the silty bottom was no longer there. He reassured himself that they had fallen in love near a river, and maybe another river could make everything right again. Sam walked around the front of the idling Brave. Its new motor idled smoothly. It was nice to have something in his life that worked. Sam ran his hand across the warm, truncated hood as he passed, brushing a peppering of dried mosquitoes from the smooth paint. The paint job was incredible. Sam loved it. Darren loved it. Dell loved it. Dee Dee loved it, even though she couldn't lift her head or talk. The Brave was tan with teal and blue stripes, plus a hot pink dealer-installed water splash decal that ran up along both sides. It looked like something right out of one of those Juicy Fruit commercials. Driving it made Sam feel younger and more fit, like an extreme skier carving down the freeway in bright ski pants. He'd carved up from Chicago, through Milwaukee, up through Green Bay, onto Highway 41, up past the palm and thumb and up to the fingertips of Wisconsin, straight north, true north, as he explained it to Dell. Darren showed his little sister which way north was on his compass, the big N. "What's at the fingertips?" she asked her dad. "Marigamie County," he said. "Forests and rivers and sky." "And deers?" she asked. "So many deers," he said. "Baby ones?" "Baby ones, too," he said, and Dell smiled at him. Sam opened the driver door and pulled himself up into the cab. Swami had the baby pulled up into her breast. "Do you want me to wait?" he asked. They had car seats, and Sam usually insisted on them. Swami shook her head. "It's okay," she said. "I'm buckled and I've got her." She looked tense, like she always did when she nursed. Like the world beyond her baby bothered her, Sam included. "The kids are going to get overtired." Sam pulled the Brave into gear. "Off we go! Home to the woods," he called back to his kids hopefully. He was speaking of the campground where they planned to stay May through August. What Swami didn't know was that he'd actually booked it beyond summer, as a precaution only, all the way until the park closed in late October. "Home to the woods," shouted Darren, too loudly. His little sister echoed him. They both sat on the bench at the fold-out table in the gallery.